What's up, guys? Zaid here with one of the top 32 finishers at YCS Philly. You want to introduce yourself?
I'm Albert, and yeah, I played Flu at YCS Philly.
Do you have any shout-outs or anything before you get into the list?
Shout out to my sponsor, Semi-Limited Podcast. I appreciate them bringing me out here, and check them out. They got a real awesome podcast. So.
All right, sick. Let's get into the deck profile.
Alrighty, yeah. So, pretty standard Flu list. 3 Robina, 3 Eaglin, 1 Street, 1 Talking. So, Baby Bird's pretty. I think that's a pretty standard list. I know some people were on double Talking or double Street. I don't think it was really needed. So.
Does it ever hurt when cash hits them or no?
Oh yeah, no. Throughout the tournament, I've had Talking or Street hit, and it's just it's definitely an uphill battle. But really, you kind of got to fake it till you make it, and honestly, sometimes they just scoop before you really get into that grind. So, yeah, it's just that's what that. But yeah, that definitely happened. So that's that. Big Birds, we got 2 M-Pen, we got the Apex Avian, and we got the 1 Ryza Megamon. So yep, again, standard Flu package. Nothing special. I know some people were on Snau. I didn't really like Snau. I tested it out. It didn't really feel like it contributed much. So this was perfect. Yep. That was main deck Monster, Engine Monster. For the spell trap lineup, we had 3 maps and 1 Terraform. So yep, definitely. I think one of the at the Kissimmee Regional, one of the people who topped there, he was actually not on Terraforming, and there's so many hands where you don't open up Robina or you open up one of the other small birds, and I feel like you just need to see map. Like you want to see map. So.
Yeah, you really want that card.
Exactly. So.
People might fear Droll or something, but at the same time, like Droll's gonna hurt you no matter what. Yeah. So I feel like you definitely do take the consistency.
Oh yeah. Yep. Then we got 3 Advent, 1 Unexplored Winds, and for Flu spells, these are all the other ones I split. This was one where I really wanted to play 2 just because whenever I had it out in the field, it usually either got Lightning Storm, Feather Dusted, or they just Kashira banished it face down. So it kind of hurt playing it at 1, but I couldn't find the deck space to play an additional one. So
how often with the quick play do you search in the draw phase to play around Droll, and how often do you hold it to play around Valor?
So I will say I was on the strategy where again it's hand dependent, but it's more valuable to hold in case your opponent is on Imperm or Valor. That banish ability is so clutch where you really don't want to just use it to just right off the bat. So
because you're probably losing the Droll in those hands anyways. Exactly, when you lead with the Robina.
So my typical strategy was I would either Prosperity or Duality first, depending on what I got on resolution. If they happen to Droll me, then I would activate Advent, and if I had a way to banish, if I opened 2 birds, then there was a strong possibility I could either get to M-Pen or Talking. Of course, you would need map, I think, also in the situation. So that was the play I was going for, was banish one of my birds, search out either Talking or M-Pen, depending on whether I have map or not, and then map effect, reveal Talking, banish M-Pen, Talking summon, grab back M-Pen, chain tune the bird you banish using Advent, summon that one, and then you regular normal summon this. And this is super cracked with another card that actually came into play. I'll show that now because I really like that. So it's actually Triple Tactics Thrust. I think this card was the MVP of this tournament. With this card, even if they did throw me, I could actually search out the trap here. So either Dreaming Town or the 2 Harpies Feather Duster.
That's really strong.
So yeah, no. So depending on the hand, I could really play into Droll. So it like I got Drolled a lot this tournament, but I won those games because of this card. So Thrust was definitely the MVP. I think 2 is the perfect ratio for this card. You don't want to see 2 of ever of Thrust. So it's it was fantastic. So
it's like you skipped my turn, I'll skip your turn.
Exactly.
Kind of
card. Exactly. Yeah. So that's that. And then we got standard pot line, 3 Prosperity, 3 Duality. I think you need to play. I know who was it? The semi-finalist at the finalist at YCS LA. Oh, no, I'm sorry, the semifinalist at YCSLA, he was on Fluan. He wasn't on Prosperity.
Yeah, he played no extra deck, right?
Yeah, he did, yeah. So he did that to play around Kashira. He didn't want his zones locked out. I personally, I thought Prosperity was too cracked to not give up. The deck bricks enough as it is, so I just, I didn't want to brick any harder than I would, so, yeah. And then for hand traps and board breakers, I was on 3 Dark Ruler, 3 Drolls, and 3 Shifters in the main. So, yep. I actually calculated out Droll and Shifter. With these 6 cards, you have the likelihood of drawing it 57% of the time with a 5-card draw. So I thought about all the decks that are in the format. I thought these 6 were enough to cover that. And if I didn't draw that, then Dark Ruler would be there too.
And you have Prosperity to get the Dark Ruler,
exactly,
so it's like
yep.
you have 12 going
exactly,
cards
yep.
plus the talents.
And with the thrust, so yep, yeah, no, it's it was just.
Would you play like a triple tactic talent? Why'd that card not make the cut?
So that was one I considered. The only deck I could really see myself grabbing that. Again, the main point of the deck was to set either Feather Duster or Dreaming Town. So because most of the time if they do Droll or Ash or whatever hand trap, the only hand trap where you can add it to hand would be Gamma. So I just didn't feel in the main deck it was a high enough priority where it would come up a lot.
That's a good point.
Yep. So that was the reason I didn't main deck talents yeah, Dark Ruler just fit better, so I definitely really liked playing the Dark Ruler. That was it. That was one of those last week additions that definitely helped a lot. Yeah. Alright. Do you want to do side deck?
Probably extra first.
Extra, sure. Yeah. Yep. So extra was Flu really doesn't care. Before, so one of the things I tested was cherries, and I actually opted not to play cherries. It just didn't do enough. The only deck it was really cracked against was Pirelli, and thankfully I didn't play that many Pirelli. So I just played I played one Malong, one Fossil Warrior, one Entis, one Garura, one Fairjit, one Paleozoic Cambarester, one Wind Pegasus Attic Mister, and basically the whole point of this was just to banish it with Prosperity, and if I'm against Kashtira, I would either thrust or talent, take their Arise Heart, and using my own Ariser, I would just slap it on top. And sometimes that was enough. So that
and you've got all the targets for it.
Yeah. So that's that was it. Again, it really didn't matter. It came up maybe like once or twice throughout the weekend. But yeah, no, that was.
Why is that the Tri Brigade you play for that instant? Wouldn't the Link 4 be better since it could search?
The
Omen.
That's a good point. No, I didn't consider the Omen. No, I figured, draw. Why not? There wasn't much thought. I will say there is one. I was probably this one. I would probably cut the Wind Pegasus and actually play Fucho instead. I forget the full name of Fucho, but Fucho was one card I wish I had in this deck, but thankfully it didn't.
That's a rank 1 for Zeus, right?
It is. Yeah, it's rank 1, and if you shift to your opponent and they pass on Baguska if they're on super heavy, let's say you open map. And 2 small birds, you can make Fucho swing into the Baguska because it's unaffected by Baguska's effect. Slap on one of the Lyralisk, slap on a Downer on top of that, and then
the big dog himself.
So that can get you there, honestly, under Baguska. So that was the play I thought of. And the last card, I just again, it didn't really matter. Relinquish it. It never came up, but yeah.
Sometimes they make Baguska in the wrong zone.
Oh. If they ever did that, yeah, it was there for it. So yeah, that was the extra that just yeah. It was funny because a lot of the times whenever a cash player would rip my extra deck, they would be so confused as to
what
why.
Do I hit?
What are you doing here? You're like, yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I guess for the side deck, yep, I just tried to hit as much as possible. Herald of the Abyss. This card is broken against Pirelli. Floowandereeze can't play Kaijus because Kaiju special summon, so it just shuts off all the Fluebirds. So this or Xyz Unreloaded are the only options. I played this over Xyz Encore because again I main deck the thrust. So
yeah, that's
another
searchable
thrust. Yep. I played 3 MST.
Whoa.
MST was one. It was another last minute addition. I actually played against a Labyrinth player at locals before the event last week, and they mollywopped me because I was only on Feather Duster before, but I realized I needed the MSTs because floodgates were prevalent in the tournament. I opted for MST over Cosmic Cyclone because, frankly, I didn't really see a need to pay 1,000 to banish a Floodgate if sending it to grave does the same. The only deck where I could see that mattering is what is
Runic.
that thing? Runic, exactly. Up where I'd want to banish the field spell or I want to hit something. But again, thankfully I didn't play any Runic today, so that was.
We dodged a bullet with that one.
Yep,
MST
exactly,
best
yep.
card.
But yeah, so MSC was again just mainly for the floodgates, just outing those floodgates. So yep, that's what that was. This one surprised me. I thought more people would be on this. This is Dimensional Fissure. The Kiss Me list I mentioned before. I think he was also on the Dimensional Fissure. This card is cracked going first. Everyone is playing Droll. Everyone super heavies in the meta. Half the hand traps they play need to go to grave.
Ghost Ogre, Veiler, Droll.
Frank, I would almost argue that Dimensional Fissure is better than Shifter going first, just because it can't get Gambit. So it will always. There's not a single card that can out this going first that I can think of at least. So that's why Dimensional Fissure was in there. It won me so many games. I had so many games where I slapped that down, I did my things, and then when I passed my opponent, they would just show me their hand. They'd have Droll, Ogre, Veiler. It was just it was incredible. It was nasty.
It's nuts when a Floodgate also counters the counters to your deck.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah. So it was just D Fissure was definitely MVP. It was cracked. Yep. And then I played 3 Spear Mode. Spear Mode, I love this card. It's the only kaiju we can play, and it's great against Cash if they do full zone lockout. Usually, I'd imagine they hit the back row. So I actually I played this and the Dark Ruler against Cash, depending on how they did it. If they just Arise Our Pass, hopefully I draw a Dark Ruler or one of the thrusts, and I could just Dark Ruler them. If they go for the full zone lockout, I would Spear Mode. Spear Mode was fun. That was interesting. It didn't come up too much this tournament, but I was definitely happy to be on this because again, only kaiju I can play. Yep. And in case anyone wonders, I guess it does take up your regular normal summon, but map gives you an additional normal summon. So that was the reason why I thought it was worth it. So that was good. And then the last two, one Talents, one Feather Dust too. So just Talents is cracked against Cash. I want so many games against Cash because going first or second, I just Talents them. So and the Feather Dusters, Featherstorm is Featherstorm. That card needs to get banned.
Games 2 and 3 between this, the other traps, the Drolls, the Shifters, and these, you have like 12 auto win cards.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. So it's just it's unfortunate. I think if I drew this, my last little top 32, the flu mentality. It's just eventually you're not going to draw as cracked. So I was wishing I saw this, but I didn't. So that's what came about. But no, overall the deck played really well. I played against I think 8 or 9 different decks, and this was it was such a great choice. I was really happy with it.
Do you think it's positioned well with the new ban list coming out?
Absolutely. I think the play rate is going to skyrocket a lot. They didn't hit the deck at all. I could play exactly this and still feel fine at Nats or the next YCS or regional. So this deck, I think it's going to skyrocket for sure. Yep.
Congratulations on the top, and thank you for the deck profile.
Thank you very much. Yep.